Meryl Streep. For nearly half a century, she's been the gold standard of acting, a legend who seems like she can work with anyone. Or so we thought. She is the most nominated performer in Academy Award history, a titan of the industry whose professionalism is as legendary as her talent. She has built a career on her uncanny ability to transform, to connect, to find the human truth in every character she embodies. Her name is synonymous with excellence, a benchmark for other actors. She has shared the screen with a real who's who of Hollywood royalty, creating some of cinema's most unforgettable moments. But behind the perfect performances and standing, ovations, whispers of tension, and backstage conflicts have been known to surface. While she's shared the screen with Hollywood's biggest names, it turns out that not every collaboration was a dream. In the high-stakes world of major motion pictures, artistic temperaments can collide. For an actress as famously private as Streep, the idea of a feud seems almost unthinkable. She has navigated a 5-decade career with unparalleled grace, rarely, if ever, speaking ill of a colleague. But does a lack of public drama mean a lack of conflict? Today, we're exploring the stories behind 6 legendary co-stars Meryl Streep reportedly found challenging to work with. Let's be clear. This isn't a list Meryl Streep has ever published or confirmed. She's far too elegant for that. Instead, this list is compiled from decades of insider reports, crew testimonials, and her own carefully chosen words in rare interviews, a chronicle of the professional relationships that may have tested her patience. Let's get into the stories behind the smiles, starting with number 6. Coming in at number 6 is a name that might surprise you. Adrienne Grenier. The film was the 2006 cultural phenomenon, The Devil Wears Prada. Meryl Streep's portrayal of the terrifyingly chic fashion editor, Miranda Priestly, was a masterclass in quiet power and earned her another Oscar nomination. Then there was Adrienne Grenier, playing Andy's boyfriend, Nate. On paper, Nate was the film's moral center, a grounded chef whose simple life stood in contrast to the shallow world of Runway magazine. Over the years, however, many viewers have come to see Nate not as the hero, but as the real villain of the story, an unsupportive boyfriend who sulked when his girlfriend's career took off. This is where the whispers about on-set dynamics begin. A persistent rumor suggests that Meryl Streep was not impressed with Grenier's performance or his character's role in the story. It's important to note this remains firmly in the realm of industry gossip, with no on-the-record quotes from Streep to confirm it. The rumor mill suggests that Streep, a perfectionist, felt the character of Nate was underdeveloped and that Grenier's portrayal lacked the weight to make him a compelling counterbalance to Miranda Priestly. As of late 2025, these rumors have found new life. Reports have confirmed that a sequel to The Devil Wears Prada is in production, with a release planned for May 2026. The exciting news for fans is that the core cast is returning. Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci are all on board, but one name is conspicuously absent from the cast list. Entertainment Weekly and other outlets have reported that Adrienne Grenier will not be reprising his role as Nate. While no official reason for his absence has been given, it feeds into the long-standing narrative. Grenier himself has acknowledged the public's dislike of his character, admitting in a 2021 interview that he was initially shocked by the backlash and has come to see Nate as immature. This story isn't one of explosive conflict, but of a subtle, professional assessment. The message, whether intended or not, seems clear. If you don't measure up to the Streep standard, you might not get a second chance. At number 5, we have a clash of Hollywood titans from different universes. Meryl Streep, the queen of prestige drama, and Bruce Willis, the king of the action blockbuster. They came together for the 1992 dark comedy cult classic, Death Becomes Her. Streep played the vain actress Madeline Ashton, with Goldie Hawn as her rival, and Willis was cast against type as the meek plastic surgeon they fight over. On paper, It was brilliant casting. Taking Willis, the emblem of 80s masculinity from Die Hard, and putting him in a comedic role was a stroke of genius. Behind the scenes, however, reports suggest the dynamic was anything but comedic. The tension reportedly stemmed from a fundamental collision of acting styles. Meryl Streep is legendary for her meticulous preparation. She dissects a script and builds a character from the inside out. Bruce Willis, on the other hand, built his career on charismatic, instinct-driven performance with a looser, more improvisational style. According to off-the-record comments from crew members over the years, this was the primary source of friction. Streep allegedly found Willis's less rehearsed approach frustrating. There were no public blow-ups, but the conflict was a quiet one. Some critics even noted a disjointed feeling between the leads upon the film's release. Streep has always championed actors who match her level of commitment. In Willis, she reportedly saw a movie star who was coasting on charm rather than digging into the craft. They finished the film, did the publicity, and went their separate ways, never working together again. In a rare moment years later, Streep admitted she disliked working on projects heavy with special effects, saying, "It's not fun to act to a lampstand." While not a direct critique of Willis, it speaks to a challenging experience on a film where their professional paths crossed for the first and only time. Coming in at number 4 is another icon, Alec Baldwin. The project was the 2009 romantic comedy It's Complicated, where Streep and Baldwin played a divorced couple who start a secret affair. The film was a commercial success, and the chemistry between Streep and Baldwin was a key part of its appeal. Behind the scenes, however, reports paint a picture of another classic Streep conflict, a clash between meticulous preparation and freewheeling improvisation. Much like the rumored situation with Bruce Willis, the tension with Alec Baldwin was supposedly rooted in their different approaches. Streep, the Juilliard-trained perfectionist, arrives on set with her performance fully mapped out. Baldwin comes from a tradition that prizes spontaneity and is famous for his ability to improvise. For an actor like Streep, this can be disruptive. According to on-set sources, Baldwin would reportedly alter scripted dialogue during takes. For Streep, this would mean abandoning her carefully constructed performance to react in the moment, a method she reportedly finds frustrating. One unverified anecdote has circulated for years, claiming that during a rehearsal, Baldwin made an unscripted joke that didn't land well with Streep, causing her to walk off the set for several minutes. It's crucial to state this story is unconfirmed. Publicly, their statements have been positive. In a 2019 Instagram post, Baldwin called making the movie with her a dream come true. Streep, in an interview, called both Baldwin and co-star Steve Martin wildly and inventively funny. Still, despite the film's success, they have never worked together again, suggesting that their artistic processes, while successful on their own, might not have been a perfect match. It's clear that even for a legend like Meryl Streep, clashing with a co-star's acting style can turn a production into a challenge. Which of these on-set dynamics has surprised you the most so far? Let us know in the comments. And if you're finding these behind-the-scenes stories fascinating, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because the stories only get more intense from here. For our number 3 spot, we go back to one of the most acclaimed and devastating performances of Streep's career in the 1982 film Sophie's Choice. Her portrayal of Sophie Zawistowska, a Polish immigrant and Holocaust survivor, is legendary, earning her an Academy Award for Best Actress. Sharing the screen with her was Kevin Kline in his film debut as her brilliant but terrifyingly volatile lover, Nathan. On screen, their chemistry was electric. Behind the scenes, however, reports have long suggested a quiet, intellectual rift, born from two opposed approaches to acting. To become Sophie, Meryl Streep famously learned to speak Polish and German to perfect a flawless Polish accent, a process that took months. Kevin Kline, also a Juilliard graduate, reportedly preferred a more instinctual approach, discovering his character through rehearsal rather than exhaustive research. According to a frequently told but unconfirmed story, Klein remarked that her intense focus on accent work was almost distracting, a comment that allegedly was not well received by Streep, for whom the accent was the core of the character's truth. This supposed disagreement highlights a deep philosophical chasm between their methods. However, any on-set friction seems to have been one-sided or resolved over time. In a 2004 tribute to Streep, Klein spoke warmly of her and even joked about her encouraging him to be physical in their scenes without fear of hurting her. He ended his speech by pleading, "Please, Meryl, call me, let's go at it again." Despite creating one of cinema's most acclaimed pairings, they have never shared the screen again. At number 2, we have a true clash of Hollywood royalty, Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson. They starred together in 2 films back-to-back, Heartburn, 1986, and Ironweed, 1987. Nicholson was an icon of rebellious, charismatic movie stardom. Streep was the master of transformation. Their opposing philosophies were bound to create some friction. The heart of the rumored conflict, which reportedly began on Heartburn, was Nicholson's entire approach to his craft. Streep viewed acting as a service to the character. Nicholson, on the other hand, was famous for playing variations of his own magnetic persona. For Streep, this was reportedly seen as prioritizing style over substance. Beyond their artistic differences, there were also reports of Nicholson's off-screen behavior. During the filming of Heartburn, while Streep was pregnant, Nicholson was allegedly very flirtatious with her. Biographer Mark Elliott cited reports that Streep had to throw him out of her hotel room because of his advances, though Streep herself has denied this specific claim. The film's producer did confirm that Nicholson really had the hots for Meryl and that she was very skilled at throwing cold water on Jack whenever he got a little too friendly, in a creative way. This combination of professional incompatibility and personal boundary pushing may have created a lasting divide. After 1987, their on-screen collaborations ended. It wasn't a loud feud, but perhaps a quiet, principled stand from an actress who demanded a certain level of respect and artistic commitment, a standard she may have felt the legendary Jack Nicholson didn't always meet, and now for the #1 spot. This is the most well-documented and by far the most serious example of an on-set conflict in Meryl Streep's career. The actor is Dustin Hoffman, and the film is the 1979 masterpiece that would earn them both their first Oscars. Kramer versus Kramer. The on-screen turmoil was mirrored by an off-screen relationship so fraught with tension it has become a cautionary tale. At the heart of the conflict was Dustin Hoffman's extreme interpretation of method acting. He believed he needed to provoke real emotional reactions from his co-stars, and he made the young, then relatively unknown Meryl Streep his primary target. The most infamous incident occurred during the filming of the movie's opening scene. Just before the first take, without any warning, Hoffman slapped Streep hard across the face. In a 2018 interview with the New York Times, Streep confirmed the long-standing rumor, stating, "This was my first movie, and it was my first take in my first movie, and he just slapped me, and you see it in the movie, it was overstepping." But the slap was just one part of Hoffman's campaign of torment. According to biographies and producer accounts, Hoffman engaged in cruel psychological games. Knowing Streep was grieving the recent death of her partner, actor John Cazale, Hoffman would reportedly taunt her with his name just before emotional scenes, deliberately trying to dredge up her real-life pain. In another scene, Hoffman, again without warning, shattered a wine glass against the wall, sending shards of glass into Streep's hair. In a 1979 Time magazine interview, Streep recounted their very first meeting, where he introduced himself and then allegedly touched her breast, leading her to think, "What an obnoxious pig." Years later, a representative for Streep clarified that while the story was not an accurate rendering, there was an offense, and it is something for which Dustin apologized. And Meryl accepted that. The experience on Kramer versus Kramer was profoundly difficult for Streep. While the film was a triumph, it was a personal nightmare. She never worked with Dustin Hoffman again. The experience taught her a hard lesson about boundaries and mutual respect, solidifying her resolve to only work with collaborators who shared her commitment to a safe, professional, and ethical process. So there you have it. 6 legendary actors, and 6 stories of challenging collaborations. From rumored clashes over acting philosophy with the likes of Kevin Kline and Alec Baldwin, to the quiet sidelining of Adrienne Grenier, these stories paint a picture of an artist with an unwavering commitment to her craft. And at the top of the list, the harrowing experience with Dustin Hoffman stands as a stark reminder of the lines that should never be crossed. It's crucial to reiterate that Meryl Streep has never publicly released a hate list. This is a compilation of reports, insider stories, and the telling patterns of her career, the co-stars with whom collaborations were so challenging that a second one never happened. These accounts suggest that even the most celebrated actress in the world has her limits. Her silence on these matters often speaks louder than any public statement ever could, creating a legacy built not just on talent, but on quiet strength and professional integrity. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Join the conversation in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories of Hollywood. Thanks for watching.